Hello everyone. The group by function in Power BI is mainly used for three reasons. The first one is to reduce the number of rows, the second one is to check for duplicates, and the third one is to provide aggregations. Let's check each of these reasons by applying over the employee data table we have right here. So, assuming that all the data we care about in this table is simply the sum of salaries by department, so that we can compare that against a budgeted amount, for example. So in that case, it would make no sense to keep the name, gender, and all the other details in that table. So to get an aggregation of the salaries by department and consequently reduce the number of rows used here, we can simply go to the Transform tab and click on Group By. And over here, instead of count rows, let us choose the sum operation and choose the salary column. Finally, we need to define the new column name. So let's call it, for example, total salaries. And hit OK. You'd see that the entire table was summarized to show only two columns, one for the department and another one for the total salaries within that department. So by doing this, we have done two things. We have reduced number of rows and reduced number of columns. This might not be very useful when we have few rows and few columns in our table, but it becomes much more useful and more powerful if we have a large table which we only need summarized data to be pulled out of it. Next, I will show you how we can check for duplicates in our table using the group by function. So if we delete this step here and say we would like to check for duplicates within names and see how many records or how many rows we have for each name. So I could simply select name and go to group by, and I would keep it as it is. So it would simply return the count of rows or the number of rows for each single name, or corresponding to each single name. So if I hit OK, it would return to me again two columns, one for the name and another one for the number of rows that name was mentioned on. So as you can see, we have names that were mentioned one time, and we have other names that were mentioned twice. Finally, the group by function could be also used to provide aggregations. So if I delete this and go back here, let's say that out of this table we only care about knowing the average salary per gender and per department. So to achieve that, I could select gender and go to group by. Now, as I would like to group by more than one column, I could go to the advanced section over here and click it. Then I could add another column for grouping. Let us choose department from here. And finally, I could choose how I would like to aggregate the column that would be used in the group by function. And from here, I would choose the average to show the average of the salaries per gender and per department. I would choose the average operation. Then I would choose salary. Finally, I'll call the new column average salaries and hit OK. Then Power BI would get the average for the salary for each department and gender combination. It's worth mentioning that group by function could be used in other scenarios. These were only a few examples of the scenarios you might need to use the group by function within. Finally, note that in order to get the same data over a visual or a table in Power BI, you do not always need to use the group by function, as the effect applied over the table when we use the group by function affects the final look of the table. In most of the cases, it's better to aggregate the columns that we need to aggregate using the aggregation method provided within the report canvas. Let me show you what I mean very quickly. So over here, this table is showing the average salary per department and per gender. If I remove this group by function and hit apply, I can pretty much get the same result using the summarization method within the canvas. So if I get the gender column from here and put it in a table, then get the department column and put it next to it, and finally let me go to the focus mode to make this clearer to you. Then if I get the salary and put it here, okay, so right now it would summarize the salary by both of gender and department. And if I click on this drop down here, I can choose the summarization method. So I could choose to show the total of the salary by using sum, or the average of the salary per department, or even minimum, maximum, or anything else that I might have in mind. So if I choose average, I would get the exact same result I would have got if I used the group by function within the query editor. And that's all we need to know about using the group by function within Power BI. See you in the next video. If you like this type of content, subscribe to our channel, hit like, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. And by the way, we also offer Power BI consulting and training services at www.powerbimaster.com. See you in the next video.